Welcome to episode 5 of the Be Free Show. We're your hosts. I'm Ali, and this is my wonderful friend, Anise.
And today's countercultural flip is that true activists fight self as much as they fight society.
That's right. We got to free self to free society, and that's an ongoing internal battle.
It is.
Today's lessons, number 1, real wokeness is real work. Number 2, the fight for freedom is a spiritual battle. And number 3, civil rights are human rights.
So let's get started with lesson 1. Real wokeness is real work. If we're not building solutions, then we're a part of the problem. So every time I criticize the man, I must take a look at the woman in the mirror and ask myself, what am I doing today to counteract systems of racism and oppression? And how am I feeding into the status quo?
Yes, and that's why you're a true civil rights activist. People like Dr. Fisher and Colin Kaepernick and Linda Sarsour, etc. all realize this. Either we sacrifice our comfort to confront injustice or we're complacent in it.
So Ali, what about our friends who say, I'm not complacent, but I don't feel called to action?
Great question. For me, that's a clue, Anise, that we got more learning to do. About ourselves, about the issues, about our role in them. So for example, you know my heart bled for Colin Kaepernick when the NFL blackballed him for peacefully protesting police brutality and racial injustice. I felt called to action beyond social media, but knew organizing a march, for instance, wasn't my role. So finally I blew up my assumption that I need some big event and I just boycotted the NFL. And I learned that there was power in my protest. I converted my awareness into agency.
Yeah, and you know what? You demonstrated that real wokeness is real work.
Yes.
And for you, that battle was largely internal,
Right,
but also external, because we were marching for Kaepernick during our work trip in New York.
That's right, we did.
And you also demonstrated that we're often held back by self-limiting beliefs and lies that keep us asleep to our own agency and power. One person and one vote does make a difference. Your poverty gives you power of perspective, patience, and perseverance.
I love that. And that captures lesson 2. The fight for freedom is a spiritual battle. Anise and I found the courage to create Be Free when we broke out of society's boxes, saying that we couldn't be entrepreneurs or media personalities or artists or experts. Because Anise, you're too African and Black and Christian. And I'm too Arab and Muslim. And together, we're too countercultural.
Amen. First, we had to be free from mainstream false narratives about ourselves. Unlearning the lies was 80% of the battle. So the best way to join the revolution is to be on fire for yourself first. Not conceited, but definitely convicted.
I love that. It's really about getting whole in our own spirit and then confronting those who have brought an evil spirit of racism and injustice into various institutions. So we really must love ourselves and each other enough to unite and fight back.
Yes. And these so-called civil rights that we're fighting for are actually human rights, which is lesson 3. There's a small group with the majority of power whose value of money and control lead them to dehumanize anyone that threatens their seats. And so we have citizens fighting for rights like physical and psychological safety, which is crazy.
Crazy. And movements like Black Lives Matter were born in response to these basic rights guaranteed by the US Constitution, yet continuously denied to citizens of color. So we all must be free to discover the agency or activist within. And we need a diversity of fighters. I'm talking about writers, educators, legislators, organizers, artists, etc.
Whew. So I agree with you. And one way that I chose to fight discrimination was to use my national education role to host a webinar on navigating bias during the interview process right before our largest job placement exchange. So wherever you position, there's a role for you. When you do the internal work, you're more likely to pick up on injustice, get creative, and fight it. So our 4th call to action is to be free in your activism because number 1, real wokeness is real work. Number 2, the fight for freedom is a spiritual battle. And number 3, civil rights are human rights, Brother Malcolm.
Yes. Now, subscribe to our Patreon page to once again help us plan the revolution that we seek. Next week, in episode 6, we talk about race. Until then, y'all, find us anywhere online at Be Free Show. We love you and
be free.